What you doing? Come on and join the show. Hey, what you doing?
Juneteenth is a day that resonates with deep historical meaning. It is known by many names. Some call it Freedom Day. Others call it Emancipation Day. It marks June 19, 1865. This was the day when the last enslaved African Americans in the United States learned of their freedom. This news arrived in Galveston, Texas. The Civil War had ended, yet freedom had not yet reached everyone. Juneteenth signifies this momentous, though delayed, liberation. It stands as a testament to the end of chattel slavery in this nation, a brutal system that shaped America profoundly. The importance of Juneteenth has grown over time. It is now recognized as a federal holiday. President Joseph R. Biden signed the Juneteenth National Independence Act on June 17, 2021. This act established June 19th as a day of national observance. For many, it is a time for celebration. It is also a time for solemn reflection. We reflect on the journey from bondage to liberty. We consider the long, arduous path toward equality. The day invites all Americans to understand a critical piece of their shared history. It asks for recognition of a freedom hard-won and long overdue. The message delivered on that first Juneteenth was clear. U.S. Major General Gordon Granger issued General Order No. 3. This order contained a powerful declaration. It stated an absolute equality of personal rights and property rights between former masters and slaves. This was a radical idea in a society built on inequality. It laid a foundation, at least in word, for a new relationship. The order advised the newly freed to remain at their homes and work for wages. It was a fragile start. The promise of absolute equality would face immense resistance for generations. Juneteenth is not merely a historical anniversary, it serves as a poignant reminder. Texas Representative Albert Ely Edwards once noted that Juneteenth triggers challenges and responsibilities for successive generations. This remains true. Each year, the observance calls us to examine the present. How far have we come in achieving that absolute equality? What responsibilities do we bear today? The echo of that freedom announcement in 1865 continues to challenge us. It pushes us to build a more just and equitable society for all. It demands we never forget the price of freedom. The scene was Galveston, Texas. The date was June 19, 1865. Union soldiers, led by Major General Gordon Granger, arrived on the island. The Civil War had officially concluded in April. Confederate General Robert E. Lee had surrendered. Yet, in remote Texas, life for over 250,000 enslaved African Americans remained largely unchanged. They were still held in bondage. General Granger's arrival signaled a turning point. He came to enforce the Emancipation Proclamation. He came to announce that the war was over and that they were free. This moment marked the true end of slavery's reach. General Granger stood before the people of Texas. He read General Order No. 3. The words were direct and transformative. The people of Texas are informed that in accordance with a proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. This was the official announcement. It declared an end to the master-slave relationship. It spoke of a new dynamic based on employer and hired labor. For those who heard it, the words must have been earth-shattering. Freedom, long dreamed of, was now declared law. It was a declaration that would reshape lives and futures. The reaction was immediate and profound. There was shock, there was disbelief, then there was an explosion of joy. Imagine hearing those words after a lifetime of enslavement. Years of brutal labor, family separations, and denied humanity were suddenly, officially, over. People celebrated in the streets. They left plantations, seeking family or new opportunities. This was the beginning of a new, uncertain journey. The initial jubilation was mixed with the daunting reality of building life anew. They faced a world that was still deeply hostile to their newfound freedom. Why did this news take so long to reach Texas? The state was geographically isolated. It was the westernmost Confederate state. Throughout the war, it had seen relatively few battles. Union troop presence was minimal. This allowed enslavers to maintain their brutal system with impunity. Some deliberately withheld the news of emancipation to extract more forced labor. The delayed announcement in Texas highlights the stubbornness of the Confederacy. It underscores the lengths to which enslavers would go to preserve their power. It is a stark reminder of the slow, painful process of dismantling such an entrenched institution. President Abraham Lincoln had issued the Emancipation Proclamation much earlier. It became effective on January 1, 1863. This historic document declared that all persons held as slaves within the rebellious states are, and henceforward shall be free. It was a monumental step. However, its immediate impact was limited. The proclamation applied only to states that had seceded from the United States. It did not affect slavery in the loyal border states. Crucially, its enforcement depended on Union military victory. Freedom was promised, but not yet fully delivered. In Texas, the Emancipation Proclamation remained largely an abstraction. The state was still under Confederate control. There were not enough Union troops to enforce the presidential order. So, while enslaved people in other parts of the South might have heard whispers of freedom, or even experienced its arrival with Union armies, those in Texas did not. They continued to toil under the yoke of slavery. The war raged on. The Confederate power structure in Texas remained intact. Enslavers actively worked to prevent the news from spreading. They knew that knowledge of freedom would inspire resistance and flight. Those 2.5 years represent an immeasurable toll. It was an extension of profound suffering and injustice. For over 2 additional years, men, women, and children endured forced labor. They lived under the constant threat of violence. Families continued to be torn apart. Dreams of freedom were deferred, day after agonizing day. This period was not just a footnote in history, it was a continuation of stolen lives, stolen labor, and stolen dignity. The weight of this waiting, this extended period of bondage, is a critical part of the Juneteenth story. It speaks to the deep cruelty of the system. The delay in Texas reveals much about the nature of slavery. It was not an institution that would simply fade away. It had to be actively, forcefully dismantled. The tenacity of the slave system and its proponents was formidable. Even after the Confederacy's defeat, the ideology of white supremacy persisted. The struggle to make freedom a reality was just beginning. Juneteenth, therefore, is not just about the announcement of freedom. It is also about acknowledging the fierce resistance to that freedom. It highlights the immense effort required to break the chains of bondage completely. Fast forward to today, 2025. Juneteenth is a vibrant and significant holiday across the United States. Its journey to national recognition culminated on June 17, 2021. On this day, it officially became a federal holiday. This was a landmark achievement. It acknowledged the historical importance of June 19th at the highest level. By 2025, at least 48 states and the District of Columbia also recognized Juneteenth. It is a day for parades, family gatherings, educational events, and cultural celebrations. It has become a powerful symbol of African American history and the ongoing pursuit of equality. Modern Juneteenth commemorations are rich with meaning and purpose. Many events in 2025 embrace themes of progress and reflection. For instance, Michigan State University's 5th annual Juneteenth celebration is themed A Juneteenth Renaissance Bridging Freedom's Legacy and Tomorrow's Vision. This theme beautifully captures the spirit. It looks back to honor the past. It also looks forward to inspire future generations. These celebrations aim to educate the wider community. They highlight the contributions of Black artists, scientists, and advocates. They connect the historical significance of Juneteenth to contemporary issues. The celebrations planned for June 2025 are diverse and engaging. Michigan State University's event on June 12th will feature entertainment, vendors, and giveaways. There will be gospel singing and dancing. Storytelling by the Detroit Association of Black Storytellers will bring history to life. A Black Wall Street vendor fair will showcase over 40 local businesses. Traditional Juneteenth food will be shared freely. Similarly, Montgomery County, Maryland will host its 28th annual Juneteenth celebration on June 21st. It will include live performances, an artisans market, food vendors, and insightful talks at the Black Rock Center for the Arts. The intentions behind these modern events are clear. Jabbar R. Bennett, Ph.D., MSU Vice President and Chief Diversity Officer stated, "Juneteenth is a meaningful opportunity for our community to come together to celebrate freedom, our collective resilience, and civil rights." Montgomery County Executive Mark Elrick echoed this. He emphasized that Juneteenth events reflect the county's commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. These celebrations are about more than just a day off. They are about actively preserving African American history and culture. They are about fostering understanding and unity within communities. Section 5. The Unfinished Journey, Freedom's Fight Continues. While Juneteenth celebrates a pivotal moment of liberation, it also serves as a stark reminder. The fight for true freedom and genuine equality is far from over. Even in 2025, the promise of absolute equality remains an ongoing pursuit. The chains of physical slavery were broken in 1865. However, new forms of oppression and systemic inequality quickly emerged. These challenges continue to affect the African American community today. The journey towards justice is long. It requires constant vigilance and unwavering commitment from all citizens. The theme for Montgomery County's 28th annual Juneteenth celebration in June 2025 is particularly telling. It is pushing back. The fight for freedom is not over. This theme powerfully articulates a present-day reality. It acknowledges the progress made since 1865, but it also squarely faces the persistent struggles. The director of the Montgomery County Office of Human Rights stated that this year's celebration is more important this year than maybe any year before. This urgency stems from a perceived need to actively defend the historical narrative and continue the struggle. Systemic inequalities persist in many forms. Economic disparities remain a significant challenge. Wealth gaps, employment discrimination, and unequal access to quality education and healthcare continue to hinder progress. Social injustice, including racial profiling and disparities in the criminal justice system, remains a painful reality. Political disenfranchisement, through various means, seeks to diminish the voice and power of Black communities. These are not abstract issues. They are lived realities for millions of Americans. They demonstrate that the fight for the full rights and dignity of African Americans continues. Juneteenth, therefore, is more than a celebration of past victory. It is a yearly call to action. It reminds us that the ideals proclaimed in General Order No. 3 are still being fought for. It compels us to look critically at our society. We must ask ourselves what we are doing to dismantle these ongoing systems of inequality. The spirit of Juneteenth encourages active participation in the struggle for justice. It demands that we not become complacent. The fight for true freedom in all its dimensions must continue with vigor and determination. Section 6. Erasing the Past, Endangering the Future, the Battle for Black History. A chilling warning accompanies the 2025 Juneteenth commemorations. The director of the Montgomery County Office of Human Rights highlighted a disturbing trend. He stated, "The history of the African American community is being erased from the various milestones and significant events of this country. This is a serious charge. It points to deliberate efforts to sanitize or ignore uncomfortable truths. When history is erased, the lessons it holds are lost. The context for understanding present-day realities disappears. This makes the fight for justice even harder. It is a battle for memory itself." The suppression of African American history is not new. It has taken many forms over the centuries. There has been the outright denial of the horrors of slavery. There has been the downplaying of its lasting impact. Curriculums in schools have often presented a whitewashed version of American history. This version minimizes the contributions of Black Americans. It also glosses over the persistent struggle for civil rights. This ugliness of historical suppression serves a purpose. It aims to maintain unjust power structures. It seeks to prevent a full reckoning with the nation's past. Preserving and promoting African American history is absolutely crucial. This history is not separate from American history. It is American history. The story of the nation cannot be understood without acknowledging the central role of slavery and its legacy. It informs our understanding of economic development, political systems, and cultural identities. When we learn the full, unvarnished truth, we are better equipped to address current injustices. We can see the roots of contemporary problems more clearly. Protecting this history is an act of protecting our collective ability to learn and grow. Juneteenth itself stands as an act of defiance against this erasure. It is a powerful grassroots assertion of historical memory. By celebrating Juneteenth, communities actively remember. They honor the ancestors who endured slavery. They celebrate the moment of liberation. They reaffirm the importance of their stories and their heritage. In a time when there are active efforts to restrict the teaching of Black history, Juneteenth becomes an even more vital occasion. It is a declaration that this history will not be forgotten. It will be told. It will be honored. Section 7. More than a holiday. The fabric of Juneteenth traditions. The earliest Juneteenth celebrations were deeply meaningful gatherings. They began in Texas almost immediately after June 19, 1865. Formerly enslaved people and their descendants came together. They shared food, they offered prayers, they listened to readings of the Emancipation Proclamation. Sometimes, these gatherings took place on land specifically purchased for these events. Emancipation Park in Houston, Texas, is one such historic site. These early celebrations were acts of community building. They were affirmations of freedom and shared identity in a still hostile world. They laid the foundation for the traditions we know today. Food has always been central to Juneteenth celebrations. Barbecues are a common feature, bringing people together in fellowship. Certain foods carry particular significance. Tea cakes, a simple, sweet cookie, are a traditional treat. Black-eyed peas are often eaten for good luck and prosperity. Strawberry soda or other red-colored drinks are also customary. The color red is symbolic. It can represent the bloodshed during slavery. It can also represent resilience and the life force of the people. These culinary traditions connect present-day celebrations to those of the past, carrying cultural memory forward. The observance of Juneteenth has seen periods of decline and resurgence. During the Great Migration, as African Americans moved from the rural South to urban centers, some traditions were lost. However, the civil rights movement of the 1950s and 1960s brought a renewed interest in Black history and heritage. This led to a revival of Juneteenth celebrations. More recently, the racial justice protests of 2020 spurred greater national awareness. Many companies began to recognize Juneteenth as a paid holiday. This broader recognition helped propel it towards becoming a federal holiday. Cultural expressions are a vibrant part of Juneteenth. Music, especially gospel music, fills the air at many events. Dance performances celebrate Black creativity and joy. Storytelling plays a crucial role in passing down history and traditions. Organizations like the Detroit Association of Black Storytellers keep this oral tradition alive. Public art also commemorates the holiday. In June 2021, Galveston unveiled Absolute Equality. This 5,000 square foot public art mural beautifully commemorates the reading of General Order No. 3. These artistic expressions enrich the holiday. They ensure that its meaning is conveyed in diverse and powerful ways. Section 8. The unbreakable spirit resilience forged in struggle. Consider the immense trauma endured by enslaved African Americans. Generations lived under a system designed to dehumanize them. The news of freedom, when it finally arrived in Texas, was a moment of profound relief. Yet, it also marked the beginning of a new and difficult chapter. The physical chains were broken, but the psychological scars of bondage and the societal structures of racism remained. The resilience shown by these newly freed individuals is almost unimaginable. They faced a future filled with uncertainty and immense challenges. In the immediate aftermath of emancipation, African Americans began the monumental task of building new lives. They sought to reunite with family members sold away during slavery. They established churches which became centers of community and resistance. They founded schools to educate themselves and their children, knowing that literacy was power. They pooled resources to buy land and start businesses. This was done in the face of widespread discrimination, violence from white supremacist groups like the Ku Klux Klan, and discriminatory Black codes designed to limit their freedom. Their efforts were acts of incredible courage and determination. Resilience is a continuous thread woven throughout African American history. It is not just about enduring hardship. It is about actively resisting oppression. It is about creating beauty and joy in the midst of pain. It is about demanding rights and fighting for justice generation after generation. From the slave revolts to the civil rights movement, from the Harlem Renaissance to contemporary activism, this spirit of resilience has been a driving force. It is a testament to the enduring strength of a people who refuse to be defined by their oppressors. It is a legacy of survival and triumph. Juneteenth is, at its heart, a celebration of this unbreakable spirit. It honors the strength and endurance of those who survived slavery. It recognizes their capacity to create and sustain communities despite overwhelming odds. It celebrates the profound love of freedom that fueled their struggle. When we commemorate Juneteenth, we are not just remembering a historical event. We are paying homage to the resilience that has characterized the African American experience. We are acknowledging a legacy of hope and perseverance that continues to inspire. Section 9. From Remembrance to Resolve, the Path Forward. Juneteenth is undeniably a day for looking back. It compels us to remember the horrors of slavery. It demands we acknowledge the delayed arrival of freedom in places like Texas. It asks us to honor the sacrifices of those who endured and those who fought for liberation. This act of remembrance is vital. Without understanding our history, we cannot fully understand our present. However, Juneteenth must also be about looking forward. It must be a catalyst for action. It must inspire a collective resolve to continue the journey towards a more perfect union. The core message of General Order Number 3, absolute equality of personal rights and property rights, remains a powerful call to action. This was the promise of Juneteenth. It is a promise that, even in 2025, has not been fully realized. The path forward requires us to translate remembrance into tangible efforts to achieve this equality. It means actively working to dismantle systemic racism. It means advocating for policies that promote justice and opportunity for all. It means challenging prejudice and discrimination wherever we encounter it. This is the work that Juneteenth demands of us. Education is a critical component of this path forward. We must ensure that the full story of Juneteenth and of African American history is taught accurately and comprehensively. This includes the difficult truths about slavery and its enduring legacy. Advocacy is also essential. We must support organizations and movements that are working on the front lines of racial and social justice. Community engagement provides opportunities to build bridges, foster understanding, and create local change. Every individual has a role to play in advancing the cause of equality. Juneteenth, then, serves as both a mirror and a beacon. It reflects our nation's complex past with its failings and its moments of progress. It also shines a light on the path ahead. It is a beacon of hope, reminding us of the transformative power of freedom and the resilience of the human spirit. It is a catalyst for change, urging all Americans to embrace the lessons of this important day. Let us use Juneteenth not just to celebrate, but to recommit ourselves to the unfinished work of building a nation where freedom and justice truly ring for all.
See you later, see you later. So